Caldwell Banker Cascade Real Estate. Now, let's go live to the Numerica Performing Arts Center for the Top 10 Apple Blossom speeches with our own Eric Granstrom.
And welcome into the Numerica Performing Arts Center here in downtown Wenatchee. Believe it or not, I know it's only January, but the Apple Blossom Festival begins today, because today we will learn the top 10 candidates for the 2026 Washington State Apple Blossom Festival. I'm Eric Granstrom along with our crew here at the PAC as we get ready for the top 10 speeches. 50% of the judging has already taken place earlier today with the Get to Know You program. Now it's time to get the other 50% taken care of. We'll be breaking this into two separate segments here on the NCWLIFE channel. The first will feature the candidates from the Eastmont School District, and then the second will be, or is it the Wenatchee School District first? And then the second set, we'll do that coming up at 2:30 this afternoon. Right now, let's go live here to the stage and welcome in our MC from the Wenatchee Central Lions Club. Welcome, Catherine Ross.
Welcome to the 2026 Apple Blossom Festival's Top 10 process.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the second phase of the Washington State Apple Blossom Top 10 process. My name is Catherine, and I'm proud to be a member of the Wenatchee Central Lions Club. Before we begin, we'd like to acknowledge the many individuals and businesses that make today's events possible. Thank you for your generosity, your time, and your continued support. A special thank you as well to NCWLIFE for filming today's Top 10 process so our community can share in this moment. Over the past month, 24 candidates have dedicated their time and talent to preparing for this process. Today, these outstanding young women will be narrowed down to our top 10. 6 representatives from the Eastmont School District and 4 representatives from the Wenatchee School District. Once selected, our top 10 will begin an exciting phase of training as they prepare for the Royalty Selection Pageant, where the 2026 Apple Blossom Queen and 2 princesses will be crowned. These 3 remarkable representatives will carry forward the tradition and spirit of the 107th Apple Blossom Festival. We are also honored to award scholarships in recognition of their hard work and commitment. The Apple Blossom Festival Queen will receive a $10,000 scholarship, generously sponsored by the Wenatchee Applearians. Each princess will receive a $5,000 scholarship sponsored by the Jim and Corinne Telford Memorial Scholarship. The remaining 7 candidates will each receive $1,000 sponsored by the Floor Factory. In addition, 4 more $1,000 scholarships will be presented on pageant night. Earlier today, 50% of the judging was completed during the Get to Know You portion of the competition. Now, our candidates will deliver a 2 to 3 minute speech on the topic, Through My Eyes. This portion will make up the remaining 50% of their score. Each candidate has drawn a number that determines the order of presentations, and we'll be hearing from them in that order. You'll find the biographies of our out-of-town judges in today's program, but let's take a moment to introduce them now. Judges, please rise as your name is called. From Seattle, Washington, Jaden Gilmore. From Seattle, Washington, Caroline Lackman. From Manson, Washington, Gina Steiner. From Pullman, Washington, Ruben Mays. And from Bothell, Washington, Melissa Arias. Thank you, judges, for your time and expertise. Now, let's get started. It's time to meet our 15 candidates from the Eastmont School District.
Hi, I'm candidate Elizabeth Nicholas. candidate Avery Anatotmula. Hi, I'm candidate Cameron Reynolds.
Hi, I'm candidate Brianna Urrutia.
Hi, I'm candidate Kaylee Pearson.
Hi, I'm candidate Yoreli Zaldivar.
Hi, I'm candidate Alice Mons. Hi, I'm candidate Jaden Fraley. Hi, I'm candidate Brielle Precht. Hi, I'm candidate Alondra Magana. Hi, I'm candidate Mary Linker. Hi, I'm candidate Brianna Machado.
Hi, I'm candidate Jaylene Guzman.
Hi, I'm candidate Cassidy Duplessis.
Hi, I'm candidate Florentine Ward.
Elizabeth Nicholas.
Picture this. I'm 4 years old in a big pink tutu with little blonde pigtails and the world's biggest smile on my face. Because the Apple Blossom royalty are coming to school today. Oh my goodness, they're so pretty. Their tiaras are so sparkly. They're so nice too. When I grow up, I want to be a princess. So I proudly wore my fluffy dresses and plastic tiaras to preschool as I practiced my princess wave. I'm a 4th grader with sparkly leggings and cats on my shirt. My smile's still giant. This time because I get to see the princesses in the parade. Wow, those dresses are so sparkly. They're so sure of themselves. When I grow up, I want to be a princess. I was constantly inspired by their confidence and grace and how they brought the community together. Through the next several years, when things were challenging, I focused on what I could do. Taking my skills to multiple national competitions, I practiced speaking confidently and presenting myself with poise and dignity. I'm a sophomore with trendy jeans and long brown hair. My smile's a little bit more grown up now, but just as excited. This time, because I get to watch their speeches. Wow, they look so grown up. The way they talk, calm, poised, and perfect. When I grow up, I want to be a princess. So I practice my communication skills. It all started through the eyes of a 4-year-old, entranced by the sparkles. Then a 4th grader saw how they presented themselves to the community. A sophomore watched as a girl she knew became a princess. Through my eyes, Apple Blossom was a fantasy, a dream, and a goal. All throughout my life, so no matter what eyes I saw it through, the Apple Blossom royalty were constantly inspiring me. Amidst family challenges through personal disabilities and the highs and lows of everyday life, they made me want to be kinder and more confident and to build relationships with the people in my community. And now, I have the opportunity to be that connection and inspiration. I'm a senior in high school, on stage in little kitten heels, my smile bigger than ever. Through my eyes, the Apple Blossom royalty have been the picture of kindness, confidence, and community connection. I have always wanted to be a princess, first for the sparkles, and now for the opportunities, the chance to build a relationship with my community, and the chance to inspire the next generation of incredible young girls.
Avery Anuntadmula.
I love road trips. Every summer, my family and I, we drive down to Oregon to visit our cousins. Since my uncle's an optometrist, we get our eyes checked while we're there. Now, my prescription isn't perfect, but it is a little unique. My eyesight hasn't changed in the last 6 years, unlike my siblings' eyes that keep getting worse every year. Even though my eyes themselves physically haven't changed in quite some time, the experiences I've had continue to shape and reshape the way I see the world through them. For example, in middle school, the world was as big as my dreams. Life was full of color. Everything and everyone was good, and school is even one of my favorite places. But as I got a little older, a few realities of life hit just a little harder, and my world turned a bit darker. Despite this, I still looked on with the hope of an 8th grader. The biggest shift in my outlook occurred at the beginning of sophomore year. Balancing a 0 period, advanced classes, and volleyball left me exhausted 24/7. Not to mention, I began to intimately understand the meaning of peer pressure. Waking up became a chore, and smiling became work. Life turned a dark gray. My perspective dulled, and nothing seemed to be going right. Everything felt completely out of my control. Eventually, volleyball ended, I got a grip on my classes, and smiling came naturally again. Looking back, I kept asking myself, why, for those few months, did my world seem so dark? Why couldn't anything seem to be good? But I couldn't find any answers at the time. At the turn of the new year, January and February brought long, hard days, and my world turned dark again too. But when springtime, the excitement for my first tennis season and all the sunshine brought the color right back into my life once more. Why couldn't my life stay this bright? Why did my outlook seem to be so dependent on my circumstances? For about 1.5 years, my life resembled a TV series that switched between grayscale and color television every few episodes. I wanted my life to stay colorful so badly, but I had no idea how to keep it that way. Then, I had an epiphany that changed everything. This last summer, I got to go to Africa on a humanitarian trip. While there, I was surrounded by people who had next to nothing, yet somehow, they were the happiest souls I had ever met. It hit me then that they didn't focus on everything they lacked. Instead, they chose to see all the good in their lives. That one choice, choosing to see the good in everything, filled their lives with color. For myself, it was all too easy to focus on everything going wrong, how tired I was, or all the work I had to do. But when I started looking for the good, my life filled with color, and it stayed that way, even when things got hard. I realized the color had never left my life. I simply had not chosen to see it. Now, every day, when I put my contacts in, I get to figuratively slip my rose-colored lenses on too. Every new episode of my life gets to be colorful. Why? Because seeing the good is a choice, and I never want to stop seeing in color.
Cameron Reynolds.
A record player spins around and around, and a soundtrack drifts from the tiny needle and thin grooves of the vinyl. The soundtrack of my life. With every word, there's a note that resonates with me, reminding me of who I am. This is my record. This is me. The needle flows against the black surface, and a young girl stands in my mind, singing the Lumineers with confidence. From her brand new Hello Kitty microphone comes a voice that's riddled with pride. She sings every word, or what she thinks is every word because she gets all of them wrong, yet she doesn't care what others think. She holds herself high, she is confident, she is me. The record is still spinning, changing tempos now. She is 5, and I can see her in my mind singing John Legend for her sick childhood crush. She dedicates the song to him, and love, care, and passion flows from her. She loves the people around her and cares with her whole heart. She is me. Even faster the vinyl is spinning, the needle still falling into every groove. With music pouring into the room, I see a 10-year-old girl at her first guitar lesson. She blew through all the material so she could learn how to play her first real chord. Her fingers lack grace and speed. Her left hand is burning, and guitar string dents spot her fingertips, yet she pushes on with determination, over and over until finally she gets it right. She knows she can play any song and play any chord, all with the power of determination. She is me. Another song is passed, and side A ends with a pause. I flip the vinyl, drop the needle again, and the room fills with noise. In my head, a 13-year-old girl jumps on the sideline in her red and blue uniform, yelling with pride and school spirit. A band erupts with a song from the stands, and the scene fades. She is now 16, yelling at a crowd. Competition music blares, her cheeks are throbbing from smiling so big, her throat sore from yelling so loud, but she performs her heart out, knowing she can do it for her team if she bleeds red and blue. With her school spirit and cheerleader personality, she loves her school and cheers her heart out for Eastmont. She is me. The record scratches, and the spinning stops. She is in my head, yet she looks different now. She's been struggling and doesn't know where to go. And a voice in her ear tells her to keep going. She gets out of bed, she switches out the record, and music plays again. Although the world isn't easy and close people have been lost, but she has a fight, and all she has to do is keep the record playing. She is me. Now another song is passed and we're on to the next. She is 17, speaking about music and everything she is. Although she's had her struggles, she continues to push on. She is still confident and holds herself with pride. She loves the people around her, especially all of her dogs, and does so with passion and care. She played her first chord, and now she plays guitar like it's her second nature, and she knows she can do absolutely anything despite the scratch on her vinyl. She is a light. She is a force. She is me.
Brianna Urrutia.
Most people think service looks like big gestures, loud recognition, and dramatic thank yous. Through my eyes, every act of service tells a story, even the quiet ones that go unnoticed. My first understanding of this began in elementary school. There was a boy in my class who spoke no English, and one day the teacher asked me to translate for him. So I did. I repeated directions, explained lessons, and helped him understand what was happening around him. We never became friends. We didn't sit together at lunch or talk on the playground. I was simply the person who helped him understand what was happening around him. At that time, it felt ordinary. I was just doing what I was asked. But looking back, I realized I was being trusted with something meaningful. I wasn't just translating words, I was helping someone feel less invisible in a space where everything felt foreign. That experience taught me that service doesn't always have to be long-lasting or emotional. Sometimes it's brief, sometimes it's quiet, but even then, it matters. This understanding followed me through middle school. During my free periods, I went into the library and helped students overwhelmed by their math homework. They didn't speak up. They just slid their worksheet across the table and waited. So I slowed down with them, I broke the problems down, and I walked through each step one by one. There were no big reactions or dramatic thank yous. Just a quiet nod, a closed binder, and the sound of chairs scraping as they left. But I saw the shift, the tension easing, the confusion turning into clarity. In that space, I learned that service doesn't have to change someone's life to matter. It only needs to make their next moment a little less heavier. Later, during my sophomore year, I helped organize a food drive for a student conference. We encouraged people to bring at least one item, and slowly the table began to fill. Cans turned into rows turned into boxes. I never met the families who received the food, and I didn't see where it went. But that experience taught me that service doesn't need recognition to be real. It only needs intention and the belief that someone somewhere will feel it. When I connect these moments, I see a pattern. Through my eyes, every act of service tells a story, not of attention, but of quiet care and choice. Because service doesn't need to be dramatic. Sometimes it's a translation that never turns into friendship, a worksheet slid across the library table, or a can resting on a growing pile. And maybe I never see where my kindness ends up, but if I can make someone's next moment lighter, if I can make a space feel less overwhelming, then that moment matters. Through my eyes, that is what service means. Through my eyes, that is enough.
Kaylee Pearson.
Will you come back soon? The old woman looks at me earnestly, propping herself up on her walker. I'm making my weekly visit to a memory care facility, meeting all the residents. I'm going to have a hard time saying goodbye, but Mom is calling me back inside the house. Through her eyes, she's not at a memory care facility. She's playing in the backyard, ignoring Mom's calls to come in for dinner. She's cooking as her kids run underfoot, squealing. She's packing for a trip, telling me about how she'll probably only be gone for 2 days, but she'll plan for 3 to be safe. What she says sticks with me. I can't stop thinking about how she sees the world and what I learned from her. Through a short conversation, I saw a variety of different aspects of her life, all beautiful, all unique. Through my eyes, I want to see every person that way, not only as they are right then, but as they were and as they will be. I want to learn as much as I can about them. When I work with kids, I look for the reasons behind their behaviors, what they're trying to communicate, what they're sharing about themselves with me. A screaming, defiant kid might just be looking for extra support that day. A shy girl refusing to participate, much like myself when I was younger, might be waiting for the right invitation. As I interact with them, I see their strengths and their passions. I am privileged to be spending time with our world's future innovators, doctors, scientists, parents, and more. At school, my peers have different ways of learning than I do, and a variety of things to teach me. They face their own challenges, experience their own joys, and have their own dreams. Every time I meet someone new, I learn something new. Like the friend who has and takes care of at least 10 cats. It could be more by now. I haven't asked recently. Or the friend that I did my best to communicate with in my broken Spanish that has lived in 4 different countries and only plans to keep traveling after graduation. Even more so, when I see a stranger out and about, who knows the incredible life they have lived and the things that they're going to do. I start conversations when I can, and now I've met teachers, biologists, veterans, proud grandparents, a horse trainer, national champions, and every day more. Even when I think of myself, I have stories and experiences to share with all the people around me. I have passions and ideas to give to the world. So, thanks to the woman I met, or should I say the mother, daughter, and traveler that I met, I've learned to learn from everyone that I meet. Ultimately, that's how I want to see the world, by seeing people first. So will you come back soon? The old woman whispers just once more. Without a doubt.
Yoreli Zaldivar.
Someone I deeply admire once told me to strive for more than he ever had, and to study hard so I wouldn't follow in his path. But how can I suppress the man who has so much empathy for the world, who stands as my ultimate role model, and whose guidance I hear in every decision I make? This is the man who arrived here with nothing, leaving everything behind to provide my siblings and I with a better future. My father has taught me the best qualities a person can have, something that no school or textbook could ever have. Through my eyes, his life unfolds. Seeing his unwavering dedication, I've been a witness to the obstacles he has endured, the sacrifices he's willingly made, and the opportunities he has created. I watched him learn a new language to carve out a better life for himself. My dad came here with nothing, yet shaped his own destiny. He has been the greatest role model on the person I want to be and the person I should become. My dad has always put others before himself. I've witnessed him drop everything to support his family and friends when needed. His willingness to put others ahead of himself has been one of the traits that stuck with me the most. I witnessed him buy groceries for a stranger whose card kept declining. Through his eyes, it was a simple act of kindness, but seeing the stranger's face brighten up and fill with emotion struck a deep chord within me. People often tell me that I am too empathetic and that I can't help or change the world. But I believe that is a quality I inherit from him. Although I know I can't change or help everyone, I know I can make a positive impact on those who truly need it. I'm so sorry. Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. I've seen him make an impact on those who truly need him. Although I am not a man, I aspire to be half the person he is. Thank you.
Alice Mons.
When I sit down Sunday mornings surrounded by wide-eyed 3-year-olds, the first thing that comes out of my mouth is, "Hi friends, what did you do this week?" And they are off to the races, each one blurting over the other, telling me about their new puppy or the thing that they saw in the car on the way to school. This moment that takes maybe a minute or two is my favorite part of the entire week. I love seeing the innocence in their eyes as they talk about the world around them, and the little things that they point out that most people would just walk on by or hardly even notice. These little kids live their lives minute by minute, instead of day by day or week by week. Yes, it may seem like they have short attention spans, but they're always excited for that next minute. They live their lives in a whole different light than we do as we get older and are burdened by responsibilities and commitments. They experience their lives with eyes wide open to the world and see everything around them as something new or exciting. As we wise up, we lose our own ability to look at the world with the innocence of a child. They pick up a flower or a feather, and it's their favorite thing in the entire world, until they find another one. They are super brutally honest. They will tell me that my hair looks funny when it's probably just different that day. They say just straight up what they think without a care in the world for anyone's opinion. I have learned to live my life the same way, and it has improved so much the quality of my life. I am no longer stuck down in the depths of the little things that cause me to worry, because I know there is always that next minute, that pretty little flower that you see when you walk along the road, or a family sitting down at a restaurant laughing about who knows what. It doesn't matter, because they are there together. You and I are still living for that next minute. I'm definitely someone who needs to work on patience with myself. I often get frustrated with myself when something is taking too long to learn or do, but I remind myself 1 minute is all it takes to change someone's day, even my own. I know 1 minute can seem like a long time, I'm pretty sure it's been a while since any of us have sat down and done absolutely nothing for 1 minute. But I want to challenge both you and myself to take 1 minute to do something. If not for yourself, then to make someone else's day just a little bit better.
Jaden Freilich.
Through my eyes, the word normal holds many different meanings. My upbringing did not resemble what many would consider a normal childhood. My life began differently because both of my parents struggled with addiction and couldn't raise me. That is not an easy beginning. And many children in similar situations are not as fortunate as I was. Instead of being placed in foster care with a family I did not know, my grandmother welcomed me into her home when I was only a few months old and raised me with love and stability. I didn't question anything at that age. Her home was my home, and her love made me feel like I belonged. However, as I grew older, I began to notice that my life did not mirror the lives of others. When classmates asked why I live with my grandmother, or casually said things like, "Just ask your mom," I felt out of place. Many kids had parents who showed up at events, brought treats to school, and were present in ways I rarely experienced. I remember watching the classroom fill with parents. Meanwhile, I was sitting there, feeling the weight of my parents' absence. I found myself wondering what it must feel like to have that type of normal, and why my life seemed so different. Over time, though, I began to understand something far more important. My grandmother, she showed up in every way that mattered, helping with homework, attending every school event, listening, guiding, and teaching me how to become the patient, thoughtful, and resilient young woman I am today. She played every role a child could need. What once made me feel different has become something I take great pride in. My grandparents and the family around me demonstrated what true love and commitment looked like. I was fortunate to have not only an amazing grandmother, but also a strong father figure and extended family who stepped in with open arms. My grandmother did more than raise me, she shaped me. And when I was 13, she got diagnosed with cancer. I then lost her when I was 15. And losing her was incredibly difficult. But her lessons, her strengths, and her love continue to live within me, influencing the choices I make and the strong, successful, independent person I strive to become. So through my eyes, normal cannot be defined by a singular idea. It is not solely about who tucks you in at night or who prepares your meals. It's about the people who listen, who show up consistently, and who reassure you that you belong, even on days when you doubt yourself. Although I rarely cared what others thought about my situation, the times I did were usually when I was comparing my life to others, wondering if I was missing something. However, growing up how I did taught me that normal is not about fitting in, it's about appreciating the people who make you feel whole and who love you for exactly who you are. Instead of feeling like the odd one out, I now have so much gratitude for the way I was raised. My experiences have taught me that normal is not about fitting in. My experiences have taught me that normal is not about fitting in. It's about appreciating the people who make you feel whole and who love you for exactly who you are.
Brielle Precht.
When I was 9, my world changed in an instant. I went from being a carefree, happy kid to one day being rushed in an ambulance to Seattle Children's Hospital, where I heard the words, "You have type 1 diabetes." And while at the time I didn't fully understand what that meant, I knew my life would never be the same. Suddenly, I had to wear a big clunky insulin pump and glucose monitor. I beeped constantly. I had to learn to prick every finger, count every carb, and I frequently had to leave the classroom to grab juice boxes or make side changes. As a 9-year-old, this embarrassed me a lot. I remember my first thought was, what is everybody going to think? My classmates had questions, lots of them. Brielle, why do you guys have your phone in class? Why are you always beeping? So, in the beginning of the year, elementary through middle school, I began giving mini presentations, all about what diabetes was, assuring my classmates it wasn't contagious, and telling them the reasons for my various medical devices. On the outside, it seemed like confidence, but on the inside, I was still insecure and felt like no one could truly understand what I was going through. I let people's comments get to me, and for a long time, I wished I could wake up and realize it had all been a dream. But something shifted. Maybe it was time, maybe it was the positive T1D influencers I followed, or maybe it was simply growing up. Slowly, I stopped hiding my insulin pump under my clothes, and I started wearing it proudly. I realized that every late night site change, every alarm, and every frustration had shaped me into someone stronger, more reliable, and more resilient than I ever would have been without type 1 diabetes. Once I came to embrace my diagnosis, I realized I wanted to help others start embracing theirs. So, I became a type 1 diabetes content creator, making honest, funny, and educational content to help support kids who had felt the same fear and embarrassment I once did. Today, I'm developing an app that helps kids with type 1 diabetes learn to manage and take pride in their diagnosis, the same way I've been able to. Diabetes has not been easy. It will never be easy, but it has taught me responsibility, empathy, and courage. It has given me a sense of community, a purpose, and a strength I never knew I had before. While 9-year-old me couldn't see it then, I can see it clearly now. Diabetes didn't break me, it built me. This is how, through my eyes, I faced adversity, grew from it, and learned to embrace who I am. Thank you.
Alondra Magana Saavedra.
The critical thing in life is whether you take things for granted or take them with gratitude. Author G.K. Chesterton. We have all had that moment when we're sick and notice we can't breathe through both nostrils. Many of us were not grateful for that simple act of breathing peacefully until it was gone. Why is it that it takes for something to be absent for us to appreciate it? I committed this same mistake. My eyes were clouded by a lens that didn't allow me to view the simple things I had to be grateful for. One of them being walking on my own. I took walking on my own for granted until I was left immobilized for 5 months. Those 5 months were some of the most challenging, but also the most educational months of my life. This injury did not only just teach me to be grateful for walking, but also not to wait until something is missing for me to appreciate it. I broke my foot as a result of tennis at the end of my sophomore year. I was given a boot and crutches to not bear any weight during the 2-month recovery. But as time passed, nothing changed. I was still in agonizing pain. During this time, I realized just how grateful I was for that simple act of walking. The most ordinary ability was actually the most extraordinary, walking. Without it, I was left having to rely on my parents for everything, like a small child again. I lost my independence. I lost my spark. And I was mad at myself, and especially mad at my foot. I felt so isolated from everyone and everything. The world kept on spinning as I was standing still. I did not see the value of what I once had until it was gone. I was supposed to be at school, not stuck at home. Oh, how I wish my legs were normal again and my life returned to what it once was. After seeing no improvement, I was put in a cast and given a scooter for 3 more months. During this time, every little movement I made sent radiating pain shooting down my leg. I was really stubborn and eager to walk that I ended up pushing my limits, pushing my pain, and I broke my cast. Not because of negligence, but because I was holding on to hope, the hope of walking again. So take life step by step. Be appreciative of all the things you can do. Remove that clouded lens from your eyes and view the world through mine. I lost so much in those months, but I gained a new virtue of looking at life from a different perspective. This time in my life also taught me that even the smallest actions deserve to be appreciated before they are gone.
Mary Linker.
In Union Gap, there's a cozy, single-story house with 2 large shops and a well-maintained landscape. If I drove past it today, I probably wouldn't recognize it. What was once my grandma's house is a new family's home, for new love, laughter, and memories. Before the house was sold, my brother and I would spend every possible moment at that house. There, I learned morals, gratitude, and respect. Just thinking about the house brings a rush of warmth, a flood of memories, and a feeling of being utterly and completely safe. It's more than just a house to me, it's a world of its own. A place where time seems to slow down and the simple joys in life take center stage. Through my eyes, Grandma's house isn't just a location. It's a living, breathing storybook filled with love, laughter, and lessons learned. The front door was basically a decoration. We'd always use the back, which was never locked. Mornings meant my brother and I were dropped off on the way to work. We'd wake up slowly, diving into our favorite cereal that she always kept stocked. Then it was couch time, watching the news with hot chocolate, pretending we were all grown up like Grandma and Grandpa with their coffees. Soon enough, Grandpa would head out to his shop. That place was filled with tools, spare parts, and a lingering smell of oil and gasoline. He loved to tinker with cars, and we would spend hours in there with him, probably annoying him with the constant bickering, basketballs flying around, and bikes squeezed into questionable places. But Grandma always had a way of saving Grandpa from us, pulling us into some activity or another. She taught us how to plant flowers, and we dove into countless arts and crafts, everything from painting rocks to sewing. And we would bake everything under the sun because Grandpa and I shared a major sweet tooth. My grandma also had this quirky habit of taking salt and pepper packets from restaurants and enlisting us to fill the shakers at home. Through my eyes, Grandma's house is a sanctuary, a safe haven of unconditional love and acceptance. It's where I learned to be myself, to embrace my quirks, and to appreciate the small things in life. That house shaped me into the person I am today and will forever hold a special place in my heart. But people are what make a house a home. My grandpa was a very guarded man, but had an extremely soft spot for my brother and I. He had shown me unconditional love, how to be a strong woman, and not take anything for granted, especially the time we have on earth. While my grandma showed me empathy and kindness, she always took in all the stray animals that were dumped in the orchards and left behind. Their house is a reminder that home isn't just a place. It's a feeling, a connection, and a legacy of love that will endure for generations.
Brianna Machalo.
Through my eyes, life makes the most sense when it is messy. The kind of messy that comes naturally from a big family. Growing up in a household full of laughter, chaos, and 3 brothers, I learned early how to hold my own. I learned to be determined, disciplined, and patient. I learned that hard work isn't something you just do. It's something you show, something you choose, in every choice and every action. Sometimes, it meant watching over my younger cousins, calming arguments over the TV, or stepping up even when I was tired. Little did I know, those lessons were shaping the person I am today. Years later, I see the same ways play out in the daycare classroom where I work. Life hasn't gotten any less messy. In fact, it's often wilder. You haven't truly lived until a tiny hand presses a drawing into yours and declares that it's you, while you're staring at a paper that looks like a rainbow got into a fight with the crayon. One morning, one of the quieter kids, the one who usually keeps to himself, walked up to me with the drawing in both hands. Wild colors, chaotic lines, absolutely no resemblance to me whatsoever. So, I asked him why he drew me, out of the millions of dinosaurs I know he loves, or Spider-Man. Without saying anything, he wrapped his arms around me, and I felt more appreciation in that hug than any words could ever say. Through my eyes, that moment changed something in me. Because kids don't see the exhaustion, the pressure, the long shifts, or even the homework. They see the way you speak to them, how patient you are, and how safe you make them feel, even when you're tired. Through my eyes, I learned that my strength isn't measured by how perfectly I handle a busy life, but by how I show up in the middle of it. Through my eyes, that little messy drawing became more than just art. It became a reflection of the way I move through the world. Messy, sometimes yes, but full of color, intention, and care. Through my eyes, I realized that I bring comfort in chaos, light in small moments, and love in ways I don't always realize. Even when I feel overwhelmed, there is something steady in me, something bright and warm that others can feel even when I cannot see it in myself. And that is the part my family, my cousins, and my little students have all shown me that I carry in my heart every day.
Jaylene Guzman Rojas.
Growing up as a first-generation Mexican American, I was surrounded by my culture. My culture is a big part of who I am, and thanks to it, I have learned many things. I am bilingual, as my first language was Spanish. I know how to prepare cultural dishes, as I assisted my mom in preparing them. I proudly embrace my culture, as I was brought up celebrating it. Most importantly, I was taught values and morals that I will forever live by. I'm happy to share my culture with others whenever I get the chance to, and luckily, I've had many opportunities to do so. I would love to talk about all of them, but I can't, otherwise we'd be here all day. So, instead, I'll talk about 3 of the most memorable moments, which, funny enough, all happened at my school, Eastmont High School. The first moment was simply joining a club called MECHA, which stands for Movimiento Estudiantil Chicanx de Aztlán. In this club, we help out at and also host community events, which allows me to openly celebrate my culture as well as serve the Wenatchee Valley. Thanks to this club, I have been able to create many friendships, and for that I will always be thankful for. The second moment happened during my sophomore year in my world history class. There was an extra credit opportunity regarding the Columbian Exchange, which required us to bring a traditional dish for the class. I was eager to share a piece of my culture as well as boost my grade, so of course I took my teacher up on that opportunity. Not only was I able to share a little bit about myself with others, but I was also able to learn about my classmates' cultures. As minimal as those meals sound, the stories behind them were meaningful, and they helped me understand a little bit more about the traditions that they were used in. The third and final moment happened during my junior year in the same classroom, but just in my U.S. history class instead. There was an assignment which required us to create a presentation about our family's immigration to the United States. Again, I was happy to share about myself. And not only was I able to do that, but I was also able to learn in depth about my classmates' backgrounds. This truly opened up my eyes as I realized just how diverse my community is. Through my eyes, one thing became evident. Cultures are something to be proud of. Each culture is unique, and that's what's so beautiful. They help shape our identity, and they are what connects us to each other. For those reasons, I believe everybody should take pride in where they come from, as it's a little piece of them.
Cassidy Duplessis.
Where you live matters. I learned that 18 months ago when my family moved from Salem, Oregon to Wenatchee Valley. To say that was a big change is an understatement. To be completely honest, I had no concept where Wenatchee was, so I became an investigator. I looked all over Google, Instagram, and Facebook. I was scared of the unknown that came with moving to an entirely new place. But now, almost 2 years later, I am proud to say the Wenatchee Valley has yet to scare me. It has so much more to offer than what the internet conveys. It is safe. It is one of the few places today where if you forget to lock your car, you can come back and find everything just the way you left it. On the other hand, if you're a new driver like me and find yourself accidentally leaving your keys inside your locked car, you'll quickly realize how lucky you are to be surrounded by such a strong community. Just recently, I found myself in this very situation. As I was standing outside my locked car, multiple people stopped and asked if I needed help. Then, about 10 minutes later, a local locksmith was there to unlock my car. This small gesture of generosity is not something I take for granted, because I've seen firsthand what it's like to live in a place where daily environmental worries can take over your life. Where you live matters. I learned that after volunteering and serving communities in Puerto Rico for 3 summers. While rebuilding roofs, patching walls, and resetting plumbing, I got to see firsthand just how different growing up in Puerto Rico is for here. For starters, a girl my age wouldn't even have a car to worry about. Her daily worries would be things like, will my power go out today? Will my family have enough money for next month's rent? Is our roof strong enough for yet another hurricane? From apple capital of the world to hurricane capital of the world, I believe that where you live matters. It is the overall foundation of your life. It can provide opportunities and also take them away. Recognizing our sense of place and privilege allows us to reflect on unique experiences, advantages, and biases. So as you leave here today, I hope you remember that where you live matters.
Florentine Ward.
Burundi. Burundi is a small landlocked country in the eastern part of Africa with a population of more than 14 million people. If you ask someone about Burundi today, they will most likely answer in one of 3 ways. Answer 1 will be that they have never even heard of Burundi. Answer 2 would be that it's somewhere in Africa. And 3 would be that it's a poor third world country in Africa. Burundi to me is a small, beautiful country. Burundi to me is a small, beautiful country among other beautiful countries on the large continent of Africa. Burundi is the place that has the most beautiful lake I've ever seen. Lake Tanganyika is a place where children play and find joy in watching the wildlife that the lake provides. Burundi is the place where palm trees fly high and flowers and beauty are never lacking. And in my opinion, Burundi is the place that has the best tropical fruit you'll ever have. The mangoes, papayas, bananas, and pineapples are all the best in Burundi. Through my eyes, Burundi is the place where I learned to climb trees, jump rope, make and play with dolls, and make clay houses. Burundi is the place that taught me to never give up when things get hard and that nothing is ever too hard for me to overcome. Burundi is the place that without it, I would not be who I am today. Burundi is the place that, most importantly, Burundi is the place that where I met my adoptive parents and family who have been the best gifts, one of the best gifts that God has given me. Through other people, Burundi might be the place that you only travel to when your church or youth group does a mission trip to help the millions of orphans who live there. Or the place you send resources and money for the orphans but never personally wish to travel to yourself. But to me, Burundi is the place that is the first place I called home, the place that will always hold a special place in my heart. And the place that without spending the first 10 years of my life there, I would not be who I am today.
Great job, ladies. Would all candidates please stand as we give you a round of applause for a job well done? Thank you, ladies. You may now exit. We will be back shortly to hear from our Wenatchee School District candidates. They just got here, so we'll be taking a short break if you need to use the restroom, and we'll be letting people take their seats as well, but we'll be meeting back here very shortly.
All right, and there you go. The first of our 24 candidates to give their top 10 speeches here today on the NCWLIFE channel as we broadcast live here from the Numerica Performing Arts Center. Our coverage today brought to you in part by our Platinum supporter, Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. Heat or air? Call Alpine Air at 509-662-6842. They're on the web at alpineair.net. Also by Apple Valley Honda. Test drive a new Honda today at Apple Valley Honda in East Wenatchee. They're committed to preserving the environment not only with fuel-efficient vehicles, but also with other eco-friendly actions and alternatives. And by Coldwell Banker Cascade Real Estate. For all your real estate needs, call 509-888-8887. Live well with Coldwell. We'll take a quick commercial break, come back and set the stage for our second port of the programming here today on the NCWLIFE channel. We'll be right back.
NCWLIFE channel is your local TV station. We believe in being the spotlight and mirror to the communities we serve in North Central Washington. Programming on NCWLIFE would not be possible without our sponsors. Special thanks to our platinum sponsor, Alpine Air. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air.
It's time for BC Outdoor Sport Fishing TV, Season 16, with your host, Mike Mitchell. Apple Valley Honda is bringing the future of driving to you. Introducing the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue EV. Say goodbye to gas stations and hello to a whisper-quiet ride and zero emissions. The wait is over. Finally, a local option for a quality EV from a brand with a track record of exceptional quality and reliability. Experience the Honda Prologue EV for yourself at family-owned Apple Valley Honda. Stay close to home and visit us at Apple Valley Honda today for the life you live.
Well, we're 15 down and 9 more to come. We'll take a break here, coming back at 2:30 to the Numerica Performing Arts Center for the second half of our top 10 speeches, these by the Wenatchee candidates for the Wenatchee School District. Again, 50% of the judging happened earlier today at 9 o'clock this morning here at the PAC with the Get to Know You program, with the judges getting a chance to, well, literally get to know the 24 candidates a little bit better. And now the other 50% is based on the speeches here, which is what we're bringing you live this afternoon on the NCWLIFE channel. Of course, we will also bring you live coverage of the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival Royalty Selection Pageant coming up on Saturday, February 14th, here live from the Numerica Performing Arts Center. Julie Agins-Kuntz, our queen, will join me with a broadcast with our countdown to coronation starting at 6:30 that evening. And then, of course, the pageant live at 7 o'clock. It's all right here on your local TV station and the official home for the Washington State Apple Blossom Festival, NCWLIFE channel. We'll come back with more and more speeches coming up in just about a half hour from right now. Thanks for tuning in.
Be sure to tune in tonight at 6 o'clock for the Top 10 announcement. Coverage of today's speeches has been brought to you in part by our Platinum supporter, Alpine Air Heating and Cooling, and also by Apple Valley Honda and Coldwell Banker Cascade Real Estate. We now return you to normal programming already in progress on your local TV station, the NCWLIFE channel.